Hello, this is a small West German upright piano made by Schimmel, 1985, and it's in extremely good condition. We're always grateful when we get one of these in stock. West German pianos are such a high quality of manufacture. And first of all, we clean the keys, always with soap and water nowadays. So they were quite dirty actually, as was the back of the piano. Now I have to confess, I cleaned the back of the piano already. It's pulled away from the wall, so it's convenient to do so. And it did reveal something which, some other work we need to do on the piano. I'm just looking at the soundboard actually. Schimmel got their own stamp on here. They clearly thought very well about it because it's a very rich tone piano. So if you're in the trade and you're used to looking at soundboards, perhaps you can try and come up with why it's got such a warm sound, because it's related to the soundboard as well as obviously the strings and hammers. Now it benefits from having this very long music stand, which nowadays is really useful. So a lot of people print out, they pay for hopefully, and print out sheet music and then put it along all the music desks. So it's really useful nowadays. It's had shown some signs of wear here. I'll ask our polisher if he can either put another piece of felt on here or make this good. But you can see in the centre there, on the sides here, it's kind of like a suede on the top there, and then it shows wear in the middle. And the other sign, you can see it's been held open most of its life, because you can see the original colour here and then fading here. So that obviously devalues the piano a bit, but the piano itself in terms of a musical instrument is second to none for the height of piano. And looking at the pedals, we can see there's always, as we mentioned many times before, a sign of how much it's been used. Well, there's not wearing away at all there, but it's obviously shinier because the right hand pedal's always used more. And again, down here, there's a few cosmetic things which we can certainly improve. I think our polish will disguise that completely, hopefully. I'm very grateful to my colleague, our polisher, who's managed to improve the piano and has also improved the piano stool, which came with the piano and matches very, very well. He's polished up the brasses on the pedals too, and if you look at that blemish that we had on the front earlier, you can just about see it. I'll try and point it out to you. There we are. So you can't completely get rid of blemishes very often, but you can certainly disguise them. And he's also managed to change the felt on the top here and put a maroon felt, which is one of our favoured pieces of felt. It's just that also the way it doesn't wear very much, this felt, so it's an ideal one for music stands. And also he's managed to improve the difference on the front of the piano too, so that's really helped. I've just lifted up some of the keys and you can see evidence of moth here, and that's on the back of the piano too, and you can see that they've eaten a little bit, so I'll have to take them all off and see what sort of damage has been done. Obviously that's something we do at first because we don't want any moths to get into our other pianos, but it's actually quite common in modern pianos to get moth as well. So if you've got a modern piano, don't assume that it won't get moth. Of course, it's the larvae of the moth that eats the felt, and you can see the green there is actually not their droppings, but well, it is, sorry, I beg your pardon, it's they come out green when they eat green felt. And one of our technicians has also treated the piano for moth and managed to get rid of all the evidence of it here. More often than not we have to change these felts, but thankfully they weren't too eaten, so that's very unusual. Normally we're changing the centres and the fronts and the back touch as well, but he reports back saying there's very, very little damage. Just look at the key here. This is a very interesting laminated key. We've had a Schimmel in before. This is like this. If you are familiar with Schimmel manufacturing process, it's unusual to find a key laminated, and the leads are at the end of the key as well. Clearly thought tremendously about it, and expensively made keys as well. I looked at the pedal to see what sort of wear there was, and here's the hammers. So that's representing some wear over. By the way, that hammer is moving over a bit. Can only see two out of the three strings indented there. So that if we do move it over, we have to reface it, because otherwise it will sound softer, because a different part of the felt will hit the string. But it shows you, at first I suggest that it was used when it was first bought quite a lot, say like for 5 years, an hour a day, and then not used very much at all. That kind of proportion, I don't really know obviously, but that shows that kind of wear, I think. If you're a technician and got any comment, then please do. The Celeste hasn't been used at all if we look at the felt here. Interesting the way they put the Celeste on too. If you're a technician, you might like to comment on that. But it's not been used. Very useful if you want to practice your scales and other people are in the room. Before we listen to the piano, just want to look at the keys and the weighting. This middle C, and this is a 48 grams weight, which is what we want it to be. So if we tap it, it just get rid of the initial inertia, then it goes down nicely, and on the sharp as well, perhaps slightly less. You see the hammer travelling there on that sharp. So it's very slight variation. The 4 gram variation is sort of the closest we normally manage to get, but it was much heavier. If we put it on this A, for instance, it doesn't go down at all. And adding another 8 grams, that's 56 grams. Some of the keys are still not going down like this one. That one is with 56 grams, but it's too heavy. So what we found is that, and you very often find if the piano's not been used for a long time, this comes up and down quite happily. That's been lubricated, and this one too. But this one here and all of the others don't come back down when you lift them up, and that means they're too tight in the centre. And that we managed to lose a lot of weight, 4 grams in fact, by lubricating C and C sharp. I'll just show you how that's done. So this is with dry lubricant. This is recommended by the action maker Renner. And we can see this is a Renner action, as top quality German uprights and grands usually are. This is the worksheet I prepared for this piano, just to help us remember, treat for moth, really important. Clean the key tops already. Touch weight, so bring that down to 50, between 48 and 52. And this is the tool that Renner supply, Balance Hole Calibrator they call it. Lubricate the centre and clean balance rail with Balance Hole Calibrator. So this is 54 grams on this A here, and tapping it to try and get it to go. It's just about moving at 54, probably 55 grams. Now putting a little talc on this Balance Hole Calibrator, just getting rid of excess. It's enough on it now. It's just very slightly roughed up, so it won't. What we mustn't do is, as I mentioned before, increase the size of the centre hole. So this we can put down here, just put it through the centre hole, and we can see it's gone through the centre hole. But we don't want to push it very hard, and my colleague who does this all the time suggests about 5 millimeters in, so we can turn it like that and always move it. I really need both hands for this, but move it sideways slightly so that it lubricates both sides here. Again, we don't want to open up that hole either. So it's just overcoming the fact that it's been kept in, I don't know, perhaps a bit of dirt got into it, maybe slight moisture got into it, and that's why it needs doing. So let's see what difference that makes. Just before seeing what sort of difference we made, I wanted to say that you don't have to copy our method of doing this. This is just the way we've got used to it. So we don't want to open up this hole. It's really important that that hole doesn't get enlarged, but it gets cleaned out. It's just experience, I suppose, as to how much pressure you put on it to clean it out and make the key move up and down like this middle C does. Sorry, that's not a very good demonstration. That goes down if I lift it up a little bit. That's what we're trying to achieve. So what we're trying to achieve is that the key moves down when we lift it up, compared to this one here, and all of them are just stiff. In fact, one or two are slightly sticky as a result of that. So let's see what difference we've managed to make to the weighting. So that's a 54 gram weight we put on it before, and that's going down quite happily without any help now. Let's see how much we can take off. I've taken off 2 grams, and it's still going down very happily really, so we've lost more than 2 grams, or just about, so a little bit less than that. And now that's 50 grams, and by the way, you have to put the right hand pedal down when you do this, very important, as we've mentioned many times before. So let's try it now. So there's 50 grams, and yes, I'd say it was 50 grams. When it's difficult, obviously, we all might be slightly different. I don't know how you do it if you're a technician, but I want to see that it's going down when we just take off the initial inertia by hitting it, and then it should go down on its own. So 50 grams, ideal in the middle, 50 grams just what we want. Then going slightly lighter towards the treble if we can, that would be 48 grams ideally, and then down towards the bass 52 grams. But it's not just the down weight that counts, it's the up weight as well. So I'm sorry if I've gone on too long already, so I won't discuss any more. In other videos I've got that. Now we've lubricated the balance rail so all the keys are dropping down nicely when they're lifted up. So that's evened up the weight a lot. So now for instance this G, which was 56 grams, it's got 50 grams on it now, and just encouraging it to go down, it goes down with 50 grams, so that's perfect. So we're trying to perfect the touch as much as we can, and now let's listen to the tone and compare it to another piano. So this is a similar colour, similar height English piano, a Knight, which is, as you'll have known if you've seen other videos, one of our preferred makes. So it's a different type of sound, slightly plainer, equally good, just different. I should say more English, but that doesn't really make much sense in terms of sound. And the tenor, that's the Knight, and the Schimmel, and the Schimmel bass. That's a very warm sound for an upright of this size. The Knight bass. So you can do the jump links I put at the bottom, so you can compare, jump from one to the other and see which one you think you prefer or have any comments on. Really, they're both extremely good pianos. So that's a Schimmel upright piano, 112 centimeters tall, made in 1985, and just trying to look at the quality of the piano and see what work might improve it. And the quality of the piano is second to none for the height of the piano, I believe very strongly. We compared it with the Knight, which is one of the two British makes that we particularly try to source. I would source more Schimmel if they were available, of this age of Schimmel, particularly beautiful pianos. Just sings wherever you play it. Feels slightly on the heavy side, and we talked about how we can reduce the weight to what it should be. Little bits of work to do, a little bit of moth eaten underneath the keys. That's the first work to do, obviously. But wherever you play it, it sings beautifully. The bass, particularly for the height of the piano, is astounding. So it's just being a very high quality manufacturer trying to think about the best piano they can make of this height and the best materials. They've got Renner action, and Renner's now owned by Steinway. They've always made Steinway actions in the past, with Steinway hammers particularly, and they are the best action maker in the world, I believe. Now we know during the lockdown it may be impossible for you to visit us, but if you'd like to try out a piano, we mentioned this before, then normally we say 10 months rental, and then you have an option to purchase and pay the difference of what you paid already comes off the purchase price. But now we're saying actually you can try a piano out for a month, and if you buy it within that month, then the month's rental is taken off the purchase price as well. very inspiring. It's the kind of piano I like to play all day long. So even though it's a small piano, it gives a lot of joy to play. I hope that's been helpful. Sorry if I've gone on too long. Please email info@robertspianos.com. I'll put that on in text as well. And there'll be jump leads underneath, sorry, jump links, not jump leads, underneath the video for you to be able to jump from one aspect of one piano to the Knight, which is the one I was comparing it with, or jump to different aspects of this piano, just to try and help you cut the video down, because I realise I've gone on for a long time. So thank you very much if you've stayed with me. Thank you very much indeed for listening.